I'm always happy to stop and talk to folks here at First Lutheran and to let them know how their generosity impacts others in the community. My job goes much smoother thanks to you because I'm able to get medication for someone. I let them know where I get the money from, and I'm always writing in my notes, obtain medications using funds from First Lutheran, so the people who audit my charts are also aware of your kindness. COVID-19 is affecting everything in our world. Everything feels more difficult. Recently, I'm getting lots of new intakes, often meeting people in the hospital who are very sick, and I have to wonder if the fact the social service network is stretched so thin is part of that. The focus of my job is 3 groups of people who have HIV. 1, newly diagnosed who are shocked and need some help to get connected to care. People new to the area who don't know where to go. And the bulk of the folks I work with are people in the 3rd category who have fallen out of care, often due to mental health issues, substance use disorder, homelessness, etc. And I guess you can say they have lots of barriers to care. Another category I work with regularly are perinatal adults, in that they were born with HIV and are now in their 20s, and they are tired of it. And I had to find new ways to encourage them to get back into care and to take care of themselves. Because the focus of our work is U equals U, meaning undetectable is untransmissible. So if someone's HIV is under control, they cannot pass it on, and that is how we will stop that epidemic. The day after Pastor Jay asked me to come and talk about a couple of cases to demonstrate how this money impacts people in the community, I was reflecting and trying to think of a good story or two. Then I had a First Lutheran Day, 2 cases that would have been much more difficult to help if it wasn't for your generosity. On a Thursday morning, I drove to pick up a man who had been released from prison after 20 years, and he was discouraged. His family, for the most part, had turned their back on him. He had multiple health issues, diabetes, hypertension, glaucoma, and HIV is probably the one condition he was managing the best. Got into the doctor, and he was impressed with all the help, but he panicked, because when it came time to pick up his medication, even at this deep discount, he didn't know what he was going to do because he had no money. I told him it was okay, you had come to his rescue. He was so touched, and I'm always impressed with him because he's not a hardened criminal after 20 years in prison. He's been a very sweet man, and he's working very, very hard to rebuild his life. And he came back to a whole new world after 20 years away, and then to add to that, he's coming back to our COVID world. That afternoon, I tracked down someone else that I had dropped off at another doctor earlier, and he had not picked up his medication. He got to the pharmacy, had no money for a couple of the items that were not covered under the one program, and then he left picking up nothing, and so not even the stuff that was free. So I told him I would take care of it, and his first response is, "I don't want you spending your money on me." And I explained again about your generosity, and so I was able to deliver the meds to him at 6 p.m. on a rainy night to the shelter. And he's someone I've seen cry at the clinic after the pharmacist spent time going over his condition, what he needed to do, etc., etc. He said no one had ever taken the time before. He is very sick. He has a CD4 of 8. When you're below 200 CD4, that means you have AIDS. A healthy person is at CD4 of 500 above. He has 8. But he is someone who is presently working every day through a temp agency so that he can get home, etc. And so I'm amazed at his efforts. You've helped him to feel that he is worth it. He has faced rejection due to substance use disorder, his sexuality, etc. I feel hope for him, and he has hope. Daily, it seems, First Lutheran comes to my rescue. Right now, one of my cases is a mom with 2 kids. She presently weighs 85 pounds, and until recently, she was working on a loading dock. The boxes had to be bigger than she was. I'm working to see what we can do to enable her to finish raising her kids. She has had reaction to almost every HIV medication, and right now is so discouraged. But you've helped me get her some needed items, and those acts of kindness help give her hope. Your generosity impacts things daily in the community. When we are not in a pandemic, I help facilitate events for NAMI Guilford, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and always point out to participants that the building is shared with so many. We will be in the building, as will Mental Health Greensboro, AA, NA, Boy Scouts, etc., etc. It's incredible to see. In the meantime, the NAMI Family Support Group is still meeting weekly via Zoom. So if you know someone who needs that, it is posted on the NAMI Guilford website. Anyway, there's no way to thank you enough, and there are not enough words to express our appreciation and the gratitude of the people that we help.